whole horse, the entire steed, the complete stallion, if you will. Whatever you call him, it doesn't change the fact that he's one of the most memorable minor villains in Part 3, and possibly in all of JoJo. This is partly because Araki kept on using him after his initial introduction due to the fact that he liked Whole Horse's mentality of wanting to play second banana to someone more powerful than him. But in my opinion, with a stand like the Emperor, he really didn't need to, because I believe that this stupid little gun is a lot more powerful than it lets on. Araki even stated in an interview that some of the reasons that Whole Horse didn't end up joining the Crusaders are, Emperor would have been too hard to deal with, and I didn't put many limitations on it. This, in addition to other reasons, is a totally understandable line of thinking, and it was for the best that he did this. However, part of me is curious as to what potential Whole Horse had in the series. Assuming you're familiar with the rest of JoJo, I believe Whole Horse is a lot like Okuyasu, where his stand is super powerful, but also limited by the user just being the user. If Whole Horse was smarter though, he could easily take advantage of this. It's a pretty straightforward feature, but one has to think about the possibilities that this one feature of his stand opens up. In layman's terms, for those who have seen the Guardians of the Galaxy films, I'm gonna make an analogy. Remember Yondu?
Enough nonsense, Ravager! Time to
Yondu is a perfect example of what Whole Horse could have been. He's able to control his arrow with pinpoint accuracy and incredible speed. Now hold on. You'll see later that the Yondu comparison is very generous, because Emperor does have limitations. But I think first it'd be wise to look at the stand's strengths to see where my line of thinking comes from. Whole Horse's first appearance in the Emperor Hanged Man arc is one of the only instances where Emperor's bullet maneuverability is used to this degree. It's able to react to Silver Chariot, for one thing, which is a pretty impressive feat by itself. The thing is though, this is probably the most precise Whole Horse's bullets have ever been. It just goes downhill from here. There have been instances of Emperor taking sharp turns one after another when it went through those pipes in the Whole Horse Boingo arc, but that's like the only other time that wasn't a huge U-turn. So picture this, it could have redirected itself after Avdol tackled Polnareff out of the way and gone into the back of his head. As we saw prior, Polnareff didn't really stand a chance against Whole Horse by himself, so he's pretty dead too. Oh wait, shit, is that Calculate over there? Pfft, not anymore. That melon head is melon dead. The point is, if Whole Horse was using his noggin, he wouldn't have needed J-Guile to land a clean shot on Avdol. There are other sticky wickets that Whole Horse has gotten himself into that are easily solvable as well. If Enya the Hag makes him aim at himself, she still can't control the bullet of his stand, and since Justice has no defensive capabilities, that fight is a pretty instant win. Also, I have to ask, couldn't he have moved the bullets to line up with Jotaro's head after they exited the pipe? With Enya, I get it. The gun was point blank and he didn't have time to react. But there's not really an excuse for this one other than just the shock of Polnareff sneezing. We can also pretty safely assume that the bullets don't suffer from drop-off, nor are they affected by gravity. We've established that the bullets have some moves, but the question remains, am I overestimating the power of one bullet? Probably. The thing is though, I don't have to be overestimating just one bullet. The nice thing about Emperor is that it doesn't ever have to reload, so Whole Horse can fire as many bullets as he wants or needs. Since it can theoretically fire off as many bullets as it wants, it could probably be considered one of the most powerful stands in the park. In that same interview earlier, Araki stated, as long as he was still conscious, Whole Horse could fire as many bullets as he wanted. I'm probably taking this too literally because it's pretty certain that Whole Horse has a cap on his stamina. This could be why he doesn't fire too many at once, even though it's more likely for balancing reasons. Despite the size of a potential round of bullets, the Whole Horse Boingo arc comes to the rescue once more by clarifying that he can in fact control multiple bullets with that so-called E in precision. I think the Crusaders are pretty well equipped to deal with Whole Horse in that situation, especially since they have Jotaro and Avdol. But what do you think would have happened if Whole Horse just said,
It's high noon,
and started shooting the Crusaders with like 70 bullets? Even Star Platinum might let a few of them slip. Even without the ability to control his bullets, a gun with infinite ammo is nothing to scoff at. Depending on how much you train your stamina, you could effectively have a slower railgun in your pocket at all times, and it'd be no bigger than the palm of your hand. And the bullets that go from said railgun are essentially heat-seeking. If Whole Horse was like Pesci and decided to go sicko mode, well, may God be with us all. I'm pretty obviously making Whole Horse sound unstoppable, but unless they come out of the fingernails of a jockey, bullets aren't completely broken. Now is the moment you've all been waiting for. What's stopping us from accepting this r/nice guy as our new god? Well, for starters, here's what we know for sure. Whole Horse's Emperor, despite appearances, is considered an above-average close-range stand due to it being a revolver and not a sniper rifle. Therefore, at ranges where a revolver is ineffective, Emperor is practically useless. Not even because of bullet drop-off. Like I said earlier, that doesn't really seem to be a factor. The bullet is outside of the stand's range, so it would just disappear at that point. One of the other most obvious limitations is that unlike other stands such as Star Platinum, it cannot defend the user. Maybe he could set up like a bullet barrier, kind of like Gently Weeps in the White Album arc, but the effectiveness of that isn't something I'd necessarily guarantee because the bullets are so small. Also, we can pretty safely assume that like real bullets, stands like Abdal's Magician's Red could probably melt them because Whole Horse did admit that he was glad that they took care of Abdal first. Star Platinum is fast enough to react to bullets, so if Whole Horse didn't have the stamina to overwhelm Star Platinum, then... We don't know this for a fact, but I can assume that Whole Horse's bullets require constant movement since they never stop in the air, so he can't pause them like Yondu can pause his arrow. Speaking of things we don't know, the usefulness of this stand overall really depends on a lot of unanswered variables that I seriously doubt we'll be getting the answers to anytime soon. Which leads us to... When Whole Horse fires more than one bullet, it seems that they all have to follow the same path while staying cluttered within the same general area. We don't know whether or not they can scatter, and if they could, we don't know how much stamina it would take. Another thing that comes to mind when asking about what we don't know, again, comes from Yondu. His arrow pretty clearly doesn't work on normal arrow physics because he can give it the force to pass through large groups of people. The important question to take away from this, though, is, can Whole Horse do the same thing? What happens to his bullets once they hit their target? Do they disappear or do they still exist? If it's the latter, he can totally just destroy everything. But if not, he'd have to get creative and like shoot the bullet hole or go out of his way to find something that would work. This might not be as huge of an issue though if we know the force of the bullet after the initial shot. All I'll say on the matter is, if the shot is more powerful, combined with the caliber, it'd determine the stamina needed to pass through one person, and furthermore, how many people he could off before getting tired. Other than what I've already referenced, Araki has basically only told us, I made him the fucking strunk and we had to more or less neuter him. It's still fun to speculate though, and until we get thrown a coffee-flavored chewing gum, that's an analogy for getting thrown a bone, I'm going to believe in the meme that Whole Horse, through the power given to him by the gods for respecting women, has that Yankee Doodle doomsday device at his disposal.
When I roll into the, when I stroll into the, when I bounce into the